I wanted to move out. I wanted to move to another country. I wanted to talk about astrology. And my ex-boyfriend didn't really love that and didn't really appreciate me when I was talking about that. I wanted to talk about like just I don't know. I just wanted to be a teenager who like kind of like in love with life, you know. And I felt that to be with like in this relationship, I kind of like had to hide some part of myself.
Hello, everyone. I am your host, Lion, and I believe that we all possess the power and ultimate responsibility to transcend and shed ideas and conditioning that no longer serve us, but ultimately were ideas we were raised with. Life's traumas and big storms are such a great opportunity to commence or deepen the journey within, to do this hard work in service of our personal growth and ultimately in service of humanity. Please join me as we learn from Barbie's journey of healing and coming to the United States. Barbie, tell us. Tell us the story of how you and I met.
Oh, that's so super sweet. I just have met my Brazilian friend in a festival, Totality Festival, and I was so happy because it was my first festival ever doing it by myself. So she said, "Hi, Barbie, I'm gonna be in San Francisco. You want to meet?" And I, absolutely. Then she brought Lion, and oh my God, that was super beautiful. Lion were doing the poetry and the music, and that was such an amazing open mic. Everyone was like, "Oh my God, yes, Lion, Lion!" I was seeing everyone just loving you, and I was just loving you as well. That was super fast, you know. I was just feeling something here. I'm super grateful to meet you.
Likewise, you made quite the impression on me. One of my first impressions was just you were somebody who was just so full of love um, and adoration. Um, it was quite a beautiful evening, and I feel so grateful that our paths crossed. So thank you.
Thank you.
All right. So with that, I would love to introduce Barbie. So Barbie um, was born in America, an American, but was actually raised in Brazil for most of her life. And she did not speak any English when she re-immigrated to the US 2 years ago. And I just have to say, I'm so impressed that, with her abilities at this time and point, it just goes to show the tremendous growth. And she did so coming to the US at the age of 22. Um, Earlier on in her life, at a pretty young age, around the age of 19, she knew that she wanted to come to the US, maybe even earlier. But at the age of 19, she decided to commence her journey to come to the US, but ran into issues that we will get into. And so, though her arrival to the US was delayed, it set into motion a few things. One of the key decisions at that point was for her to decide to do silicone breast surgery. And as a result of that surgery, she underwent quite a lot of physical trauma um, that sent her into one of the deepest darkness or the deepest darkness of her life. And it was at that point, as she was grappling in the low of her life, that she had this realization that nobody was going to be able to help her, truly help her. And that she was completely on her own. And as a result of that pain and suffering, she had this realization and subsequent decision that she herself is responsible and needs to cultivate the power to determine her independence and her own path in life. And so she began a 3-year long, arduous recovery process where she worked hard. She explored different avenues, ways of slowly healing her mind, body, and soul. And that was before she even came to the US. So, with that, Barbie, is there anything you would like to add into this introduction before we get into it? Anything that I might have missed?
Such introduction. So I wanted to introduce myself. I'm Barbie, and I'm a healer. I'm an astrologist. I have my women empowerment project, and yeah, everything I have been going through, right?
All
I
right.
help others.
Yes. And so, just to reiterate, she's a healer, an astrologist, and very, very passionate about women's empowerment. One of the things that we hope to do is put her website in the description so that, if you want to continue the conversation with Barbie, that you have a way to do that. So, with that, Barbie, tell us the story of your first love, um, your realization of your codependence at the time, and why you decided to end that relationship in pursuit of your dreams.
Yes. So all my teenager time, I was surrounded by friends, um, and little love cases. So my first really serious relationship, I was around 15 years old and 16 years old, and that was a 2 years relationship. So we used to hang out together. We used to spend our holidays together. I met all his family. I was 25 hours per day in his house when he was not 20,000 hours per day in my house. And everything my word was him all the time. And then I had the insight that I would marry him. I would have kids with him. And that's what would be beautiful, you know, because he was a person when every time when I was waking up, I wanted to see his message. I wanted to talk with him, and even with my friends, I was thinking about him. And for me, that was kind of normal, you know. So before of this relationship, I had some family issues, or like some, like, I was feeling something on my heart was kind of like missing. Then when we met, me and my ex-boyfriend, I was feeling like, oh my god, I have someone who is there for me, you know. But I wanted to move out. I wanted to move to another country. I wanted to talk about astrology. And my ex-boyfriend didn't really love that and didn't really appreciate me when I was talking about that. I wanted to talk about, like, just, I don't know, I just wanted to be a teenager who, like, kind of like in love with life, you know. And I felt that to be with like, in this relationship, I kind of like had to hide some part of myself. Then when I told him, so I want to go back to my country when like I'm gonna be older. You want to go with me? And he told me like, so Barbie, I don't really want to go. I like to live here. but if you're going, I can go with you, you know. Then that gave me insight, like, oh my God, he gonna be following me, but he gonna be following me. He's not gonna be following his heart, you know. And someday he just gonna blame me for that.
Mm.
But he was still everything for me, you know.
Wow.
So I feel like unconsciously, when we see that something not really gonna work out, you know, it stops to work out. So I realized that the way I wanted to live my life, because I was still like 16 and like 15 and 16, and I still wanted to explore myself. I still wanted to explore my sexuality. I still wanted to explore what is to have a family, but what am I, what type of person who I am, you know, because it's so common, you know, like I see so many people that, oh my God, I just realized myself after I became a mother. Okay, but who you are before that, you know? And this is it's such a journey. So suddenly, me and my ex-boyfriend, we didn't work out anymore.
Mm.
And for a long time, I blamed him for that, you know, for a long time.
Mm.
So that was funny because before I moved here, we had this meeting and he was looking at me like, oh my God, you must hate me. And I was just looking at him like, oh my God, yes, I hated you for a long time. I missed you for a long time. I was obsessed with you for a long time. But I recognize my type and I am very grateful for who you are, you know. And I'm so glad that I had the opportunity to tell it for him. And then when I told it for him, he was looking at me like, what? Are you not angry? You know, are you not angry? Like, are you not mad at me? And it's just okay. It's just okay. You know, it doesn't matter how things finish. It just matters how you both are feeling. I don't know if that makes sense, but
Yeah,
it's just like, I don't know. I feel like he's still part of my family, you know, my soul family, but we are not just together anymore. So yes, that was my first love, and yes.
so thank you so much for sharing that. Um, and I think, this story is something that a lot of people can resonate with. And as hard as that decision must have been for you to make, that wasn't the hardest thing that you had to grapple with. Because earlier in the introduction, I mentioned how, you made a decision to have breast surgery and there were complications as a result of it. Can you help us understand um, where you were, or like, what drew you to want to get the surgery, and when things didn't go as you had expected, because these days it's a pretty, common thing, especially in a place like Brazil. People travel to Brazil just for that procedure. Um, and it didn't happen with you. Um, Help us understand, some of that mental anguish, so that we can understand the darkness you were experiencing.
So, do you know are you looking at yourself every day and you are not really happy? You look at yourself and you see like, wow, I like this, I like this, I like this, but I don't like that and that and that. And then everyone says that you're good, you know, your mother says you are beautiful, but you still don't really feeling that, you know. So what is exactly you're like making a breast surgery? Like you're kind of like cutting your own body and putting this and saying like, I want to be like that. I want to be that person I see on television, and I want to be so beautiful as her. And then, and that's okay, because at that time I was making a decision, and I was like, I'm actually making a hard decision about my body. I accept that I don't need the best self-esteem ever to be full satisfied with my body the way it is. I can change that. So in the moment I was signing with the doctor and saying you can make the breast surgery, I'm actually very independent. I can make this choice, and I don't know if this is the right choice or this is the wrong choice. But I'm making one right now, and I'm making what is better for me. And that was kind of fun because I went in so many doctors. And my choice was the only one that said like, oh yeah, it's gonna work out. Like it's gonna work out the exactly way you want. So sometimes in life we're like so surrounded by I want that, and then really don't really listen to anyone else.
Yeah.
So yes, I had this breast surgery. Then the doctor said you have to stop smoking, you have to stop drinking, you cannot move so much. And then yes, I gotta do that. So every time when I was about to totally heal, okay, you're just gonna try one cigarette. Yes, oh my god, my friend, she's so close by. I can just see her a little bit. It's gonna be like the 30 minutes that becomes like 12 hours hang outing with someone. And then you suddenly understand that your breast never gonna heal.
Wow.
Because you cannot heal. So I was coming to the doctor again, paying more medicine, paying more surgeries, paying more. It's not a really good feeling when you see your breast. Like, I don't know, that was a time I'm sorry everyone who's listening to this, but my silicone just get out of my body. And that was a completely rejection about this external thing that was inside of me. And I was still insisting because I want to be beautiful. I want my ex-boyfriend remember me and see my Instagram pictures. I want him to see my Facebook pictures and say, wow, oh my God, I wish we didn't break up. And then every time when I was with this feeling, I was every time thinking about others. And that was kind of like funny because when I did this surgery, that was the first decision that I really made for myself. Nobody was really supporting me. But I had access to one thing that I really most love in my life, that is astrology. I was a red astrologer, but at that time I was having more content, I was having more things to study. I had the knowledge of Tantra as well.
Yeah.
So, because part of my women empowering project, it's about how you can really see yourself. And there is no better way to see yourself when you're like in totally darkness and saying of yourself because you just don't love who you are, You just don't love who you see in the mirror, and you just don't love even your friends, they keep saying, you're beautiful. You don't really stop saying that, and I kind of like feel, I don't know if you like know a little bit of body metaphysics, but they say it's kind of like a philosophy about how we can correlate our body and our emotions in a metaphysical level. So, example, we can correlate this with astrology that Mars is like the head, or the breast, it's Cancer. And Cancer is your mommy, it's your mom. So every time when I was seeing my breast like that, I was like, oh my God, what do I need to solve with my mom? So that was 3 years of my life. I was consistently saying, I want to go, I want to be free, I I want to have my own life. I don't want to feel like arrested for something I'm not really guilty for, because I was kind of like, I don't really to feel I in this jail that myself, like I put me in that. So that was 3 years of very beautiful and dark self-reflection. But also that was the best time of my life, because before this breast surgery, usually like when we are like pretty and we can hang out, and we're like teenager, there is so many people who wants to hang out with us. We have so many friends, we have so many little lovers. Then when I did this breast surgery, I said like, no, now it's time for myself. And that was the time for myself. That was the time to understand that I really love holistic therapies. That was the time for myself to really get into religion and comparative religion studies. That was the time to me see lectures and really get into what I love most. So I would say I spent so many time about this breast surgery, but that was worth every penny, because I had this 3 years workshop how I can really get in a deep state of healing, you know. And yes, and that's funny. I met so many people, people that I feel if I didn't really have this breast surgery, I would have the opportunity to meet them.
Yeah.
So sometimes like, okay, I really think this is the worst thing in my life, but is it the worst thing in my life? Am I opening my eyes to see it, because sometimes unexpected things can happen with you, and that actually can be really good if you don't really let your ego lead.
Indeed. Thank you for sharing that. Yeah, that's very powerful. I believe that our deepest darkness is the fuel for our greatness. And so thank you for validating that with your own life experience. So, earlier you told us how pretty early on you were passionate about astrology and other holistic modalities. And then when your own trauma happened, you were the best guinea pig for basically the journey within and the exploration of all of these different topics and ways of healing. And so, can you tell us the story, the life-changing story, really, of the healers who came into your town and how that started the journey of you going deeper into the healing sciences and becoming a healer yourself?
Yeah. Just adding something.
Yeah.
This breast surgery story. In astrology, we have the Chiron myth. And Chiron is very associated with Sagittarius. And Chiron, he was the centaur. Like he was the half horse and half man. That was the most intelligent being in the Olympus. And then all the the gods they used to bring their kids, and they used to really want this being teaching them. And Chiron, he was an immortal being. And I don't know if you know, like Achilles.
Yeah.
So certain day, Achilles, he was kind of like training his weapons, and then he mistaked the target, and then he got Chiron. Chiron are immortal beings, and that was full of poisoning. Chiron was immortal, but he got so many poisons from this how I say that in English, this weapon.
Yeah.
So Chiron spent all of his life studying medicine, studying how he can heal from that.
Mhm.
But the poisoning was so great that he really never get the healing from that, But since he was studying so much, he was healing everyone around him. Everyone. And that was how the medicine that we have now was created.
Okay.
So sometimes I feel in these 3 years, I was always like, okay, in the next day, I'm going to be healed. In the next day, it's going to work. In the next day, I still something in my soul is broken. And that's okay because every day when I help someone somehow, I feel a little bit more healed. And that resonates so much with me. So it's kind of funny. You're asking me how other healers were coming to my space. So in Brazil, I had this very big house, but I was also super recovering of my breast surgery. I was in the last. It was almost finishing, but it took a little bit of time, and I was doing some medical workshops. So I was from Minas Gerais, the state, and also we had like São Paulo, we had Rio de Janeiro, like 9 hours distance, like San Francisco and Los Angeles distance. And I was seeing so many magicians publishing that they would have like this life-changing workshop, magic workshop, hermetism and chaos magic, so many things I never heard about, and then I want to go, but I have no money. So I was praying and I was really co-creating this. And then I had the idea of call these guys and say, hi, I'm Barbie. You want to do this workshop in my place? You don't really have to pay me anything. I just want to participate and I can collaborate with you and we can create together. That worked. That worked. So in the next week, they were coming to my space. And then a whole new world came to me. So I started to find people from other states to have workshops in my place, also from my own city, So I was feeling like, okay, I don't really cannot go to anywhere because I have this breast surgery. Cannot really.
Yeah.
But people can come to me.
Yeah.
People can come to me, and at the same time, I can really be doing something that I'm feeling it's part of my calling. Because when I had this idea, like, okay, I can just call them and I can just ask them to come to my place, I was like, oh, they're never gonna, like, what? It's too much for you, Betty, It's too much for you. And no, it's not too much for me because that was great. And then I started to have, like, more co-creations. Then we had, like, holotherapy workshops in my space. We had clinical hypnosis immersive trainings. Then I also became a hypnologist. We also had women's circle. We also had like magical events.
Wow.
And we will have so much more if COVID didn't really would happen. So COVID just happened after that. Then I was already so happy about that because I already having all my clients in my space. That was super cute. I was knowing so many new people talking about magic and talking about energy manipulation and how we can co-create your reality. And at the same time, I used to mix astrology and how we can all create from that and make this very nice bubble, and messy, but super nice to understand and to study. And that was a whole new community. Then COVID started. Then that happened a really nice movement in Brazil that all the magicians,
Mm.
they started to have like collaborations online. And that was amazing. That was beautiful because I was participating of everything. I was training my magical rituals every day. I was getting meditation classes. I was getting so many new words besides the healing that I was already in.
Yeah.
And all the time I was understanding like, oh my God, these guys, they're like my mentors. They are teaching me how I can co-create. These guys, they are teaching me how I can have a community that I really feel good at, that I really can feel included. At the same time, I really can feel myself because I can talk about astrology all the time and I really can make magic from that. So that was like philosophy and all the subjects that I was so passionate about in these communities.
Mm.
Then, yeah, that was a super nice time. I started to participate of some groups. We were discussing philosophy, we were discussing magic every day. Then, after a certain time, I had a partnership with a teacher, and I created the astrological group community.
Wow.
So I had this whole new type of people that love magic but don't really know about astrology, and I was already super into magical astrology. So me and this teacher Alex, we were doing monthly practices, weekly discussions, and we are talking about magic. We're informing so many new people about astrology and how you can make it consciously magic from that, because usually magic, when we talk about magic, we think, oh, that's dark magic, that's white magic, that's Christian magic, So astrological magic is not dark, it's not white, it's just neutral. You're just getting archetypes. So somehow I was teaching so many new people that you don't really need to have a religion to do magic and to co-create in our reality. And that was the amazing group. We had so many practices. It's just finished because I was in a new journey path. I was coming here to the United States. My breast was finally healed. Because I finally found myself. Then I found the little key that this karmical situation was asking me. Then, yes, I moved here. That was a new path.
And that's a wonderful segue. Thank you, Barbie, because I would love for you to share with us, your experience. Tell us a story of when you finally came to the United States, right? Like, so many years from your first experience of going to the U.S. Embassy and nurturing that seed, that dream of coming to the U.S. and the expectations that you had. And what was it like for you, being in New York City as this kind of fresh re-immigrant, right? Or coming home, rather, in a way that you hadn't really known before. Tell us about that.
Yes, well, sometimes we're talking about like coming to the United States. That kind of sounds like the American dream.
Yeah.
For me, I was like, I'm living in this place with my family. I see all my pictures, and all my pictures are in different states. And I also have other family that is in New York and in Florida, and they were still contacting me. So all my childhood, I was listening about them and about their lives and about what they were doing and how they loved me so much. And I always felt like I wanna. My heart calls me for there.
Yeah.
My heart. I want to be there. At least I want to see what is it because it's like that is this familiar constellation theory, and they say basically when you are born somewhere, you feel that you're part of this place because you are part of this metaphysical field. So you're part of this. So if suddenly you just go away, we're still feeling that. So I don't know for the people. For me, this is real. For me, I felt that all my life I wanted to go back. I wanted to go here. And then I was 10 years old and I told my parents, hi, when I'm going to be older, I'm going to be going back, okay? And my parents were like, sure. Okay. I was 15 years old and, Mommy, can I go? And she, yes, when you're older. Then I was 18 years old and I asked my ex-boyfriend, hi, can we go? And he said, yes, you can, by yourself. But that hurt. I had this, like, when I talk about finding my independence and emotional intelligence, it is about how can I just move away from the country I was raised in, just by myself.
Yeah.
And just living and just building a new life. So I understand that, like, in some unconscious level, breast surgery or darkness, all the darkness I was living through, I put myself into that because somehow I was afraid to move here and to start everything just by myself, just saying, yeah, this is the new life I want to co-create, but I'm not ready right now. So somehow we're going to create some new situations. And then I just moved. After so many tries. I just moved. That was beautiful. You're like in Times Square, and the sun is rising, and you were like, wow, so many new people and everyone. Nobody knows Portuguese. So like, oh, I have to learn so much. That's such a nice, challenging situation, and so many different ethnicities. And the way people talk with you is different. The way they socialize with you is different. So yes. Total new learnings and totally new experience coming from me. And I did that. I did it for me. That was a really second really great thing I did for myself. The first one that does is breast surgery. So yes, that's just beautiful. I was with no money, so I did like a volunteer exchange.
Okay.
So I was doing volunteer exchange for a while until I really get a part-time job. I was also with no money. My family that I was, they're gonna have all support. It was not exactly how I was really feeling. So I had all of this darkness in a city that you were just by yourself, and you don't really have any family. And even if you're like calling for your mom, she don't really gonna understand, and she's gonna say, "Go back for your house, go back for your home."
Come back to Brazil.
So I can really say that for your family, they don't really want to see you suffering. So
yeah.
That was a really dark side, like a really dark thing. And I was feeling like I'm going to be living all my life here. I just achieved my goal, but I don't really feel in that. And I don't know if I want this. Because in Brazil, I was like having this beautiful center and so many people like talking with me. And then in the other month, I was in a new place that I didn't really have the language. The culture and the laws. So I had this very dark moment with me. That was super dark, and and painful to just realize that, okay, I did it for myself, but this is not enough. I have to do more.
Yeah.
And I don't know if can I handle that. And actually, okay, I can handle that, but I know it's gonna be super. Yoga. It's gonna be
Yeah.
super yoga. Yeah. So yes. So I found a Brazilian girl who was finding me some jobs, and
Mm.
she was, I don't want you doing volunteer. Come live with me. You
Mm.
have the same age as my daughter. Come here. And I trusted her. I trusted her, and that was also one of the first times that I had this beautiful heart
Mm.
experience. Someone so unexpected, and I was sort of not. I was sort of not. I was just asking for help somehow, and that wasn't like financial help. That was more. I need some support. I need someone saying
Guidance.
that I really can do that. And surprisingly, it really came from a man that came from another woman who also did the same thing as me.
Mm.
Then she told me that I could be living to her like the time I wanted. And that was working. That was super nice. I was living for her for 2 weeks. Then I had this feeling that, okay, it's not enough yet. I don't know what is it, but it's not enough. I want to follow my dreams. I want to share my knowledge. I want to make the difference. I don't know what I do here. Here is not enough. So I had some non-profit organizations in Brazil, like collaborations. I was collaborating with them. Then I started to call with them, like, and saying, "Hi, do you know some Brazilian people that is, I don't know, doing something cool in anywhere in the United States, anywhere, please?" Then they sent me a contact about Tiago, and we still contacting, we are friends, and he just told me that, yes, I have a ayahuasca church. I am following my dreams as well. I was living in Boston for so long, and then I had the calling to go to California. Then I'm living here in San Diego. But you should come. Then the next week, I was buying the ticket.
So fast. So fast. No hesitation.
No time to waste. It's your life.
Yeah.
It's you. All the time is you. Nobody gonna do it for you. Nobody gonna say, yes, do that. We're gonna love you for that. No.
Yeah.
So I live in California. So now I wasn't anyone supporting me again.
Yeah.
But now I was feeling loved. And I had this friendship, that this sisterhood in New York, that I knew that anytime when I was emotional, and I can call and I'm going to receive some support. So I went in a volunteer in Berkeley. Then I found a part-time job. Then I found a rent. Then I found a community. And that was where we met. That was the Center SF. If any day you're in San Francisco, go to the Center SF.
Yeah.
It's an amazing tea house community, growth community. You can do spirit events, you do yoga, you meet so many new people. You had open mics hosted by amazing people, and I felt that was beautiful. Okay. Other journey challenging. English. You already have home. You already have something. What do you do if you're in somewhere that you love everyone, and you are loving the space, but you don't really know English? So my roommate was asking me today, how did you learn English so fast? And I was like, making mistakes. I know I make a mistake each time. In 1 minute, I make like 1,000 mistakes. And that's totally okay. Sometimes I can see the people's facial expressions, then I try to correct myself. Or sometimes you're just like, okay, just do the grammar. Every day you do a little bit of homework. And I feel it's the best way you can learn. I don't know, that's just working for me. Uh, I I also experienced a little dark experience, like a dark feeling that because like when you're learning a new language, you have to be humble
Mm-hmm.
because you know that you're gonna make mistakes all the time, and sometimes people don't gonna be super loving and caring,
Yeah.
and then you don't gonna really feel your ego coming up. You know how
Yeah.
the same jokes you used to do in other countries don't gonna work anymore here. You're gonna
Yeah.
find a new way to socialize. You're gonna need to find a new way to interact romantically because everywhere is different. You have to build a total new personality for you.
Wow.
So the way you do business is kind of different. You know, like if you're American, if you were raised in America and you're gonna go to another country, it's okay. But if you're from another country and going to America, you have to learn. That's amazing because American way it's super
Uh-huh.
global.
Yeah.
So yeah, and that was kind of challenging because every time I was making some mistake, I was feeling like, yes, I am not part of. I don't belong here. You know, I am from another country. I was having um, this feeling that is, oh my god, everything. I still keep it doing things for me. I keep following the heart calling, but it's still not good enough.
Yeah.
So that was when I started to do therapy and to work this other side of me, that is the ego side. You know, like so all the time when I'm saying this, like as a journey, that was a very special moment that I was totally vulnerable, and I really trying to work on my body and trying to work on my mind because every challenge we put in our minds, they are kind of like it's a mental thing, you know,
Mm-hmm.
and the mind creates emotion and the emotion creates a reality. So all the time, like, okay, I'm still in this journey. It's not finished because I moved. It's not finished. So it's not finished. So keep going this, keep doing. Doesn't you don't really need to be rewarded in every situation that you are in. You know, actually, this is a great opportunity to help people that is close of you, that is living the same thing as you. So I found this such a great support in my own spiritual community, in my own Brazilian community as well. And okay, I still know that my English is not amazing, but I still feeling that I'm doing so good. And
Yeah.
yeah, I'm doing like so good because it's not about the external world, you know, it's everything about my work. It's everything that shines from me. Yeah, so yeah, yeah. Mhm.
So I'm curious, when you talk about these struggles of, sort of as you're forced to be independent and you sort of realize that you are struggling as part of learning the culture and finding your niche. Do you have any stories, some instances that really have stuck with you as far as some of the darkness that you've had to experience?
I can say that, like, when you're living a cultural exchange,
Mm,
you're vulnerable. So some people can like you for that. Don't exactly for who you are, but more for the vulnerable, really for the caring thing inside of themselves. But some people they just cannot like you, and this is another thing that you have to work on. And at the same time, when you're in a new romantic partnership,
mm,
the same traumas that you had before, now that works different here. So I was surrounded by so many very hard worked, like very somehow healed people or conscious people. But at the same time, I trusted myself so much in some experiences that okay, I can trust everyone, and actually, I have to trust in myself. Every time, yeah, I don't know if that really answers your question.
What I'm hearing is that, in the circles that you ran, right, which is in the healing community, and as part of the cultural exchanges that you underwent, that you had to be quite vulnerable. And, you sort of decided to sort of be quite open. And despite that, it was a place where you were not treated with the same kind of love in return. And ultimately, it helped you to realize this lesson that ultimately you have to have trust within yourself, and that the outside world, the outside environment, you can't necessarily count on that because people deal with their own darkness, even though they're in a healing community, right?
Sometimes we are talking about healing and healing and healing all the time, and we are not really living the healing.
Yeah.
So, as a therapist, like as a coaching person, sometimes I see like people they do something that is not that congruent with their speaking, and that's okay. That's okay. Sometimes that can hurt you as well because you're kind of like vulnerable, and because it's a new community. It's not that much because of the culture exchange, more because it's a new community and you want to be accepted. God is answering all my prayers. You can say.
No, go ahead. There was just a lot of disturbance, so I just wanted to bring attention. Go ahead, please.
Yeah, and God is answering all my prayers. And sometimes we're kind of like, we can blind ourselves in some ideas. So it's important to us, to everyone. Like, it's not because you are a therapist. It's not because you are in a healing community. It's not because you are religious somehow or spiritual. It's not because of that you are perfect. And it's important to you remember that, okay, when I'm talking about healing and I'm doing my real healing, or I just surrounded of another healing people that is just doing the same thing, So yes, in my past communities, I didn't really have this experience exactly because this healing vibes and this, okay, I have to do my homework, it's in everywhere, doesn't matter the country, doesn't matter the city. In my experiences in Brazil as well, and that's why we are still on healing, because something inside of us is broken, then that hurts. And that hurts so much that we need to be close to people that believe in the same thing and want the same thing for them, for themselves, so they can be our inspiration. At the same time, we can be our inspiration for them. So I don't really have any specific history, like. But every time I see someone like, okay, I'm not really being congruent, I feel like, okay, what can I learn from this person? What can I learn from this person that they are saying something that they're really doing? Or can I help this person somehow? Can I ask them if they want my help? In a way that my ego is not talking and their ego are not listening, like it's soul for soul. So, yeah.
Wow. I think the last thing that you said, so profound, and wise, because I can tell you, honestly speaking, when I'm in a challenging situation, when my ego is inflamed and it's a emotionally tough situation, I've never really considered what can I learn from this individual, right? Or what could this individual be teaching me in the conscious way in which you just shared that, right? And I think that that's really very wise because, if I can remind myself of that the next time I'm in a challenging situation and take a pause, then I can change the outcome of that situation, but then I can also cultivate more compassion in my heart for that person who, was challenging me, which I think is definitely on the path of how I am trying to grow as a human being.
Yeah. Exactly. I love it. I love this insight.
So, thank you so much for your wise words, Barbie. Thank you so much for your wisdom. Thank you so much for your courage. Thank you so much for your growth and your humility. I feel so grateful to have had the opportunity to co-create this magical experience that will live on for long after, many, many years. And I hope that our audience I'm sure that our audience has, been able to benefit from your journey and your sharing. And if nothing else, to feel as though they are not alone in their trials and tribulations, in their darkness. And so with that, are there any last words, Barbie, that you would like to share before we close out today's episode?
I want to thank you, Lion. I appreciate the work. I appreciate how your light gives so much light for so many amazing women, and from that you empower so many people. And I feel the world needs more of that. So thank you.
I appreciate that. And here is to empowering more women and to cultivating the space for more women to wake up to their power, for more women to wake up to their healing, for more women to wake up to seeking out support in other sisters like yourself. So with that, I want to thank you once again, and I want to thank our audience for joining. Until the next time and the next episode, I want to wish you love and light. Farhizi over and out. Thank you very much. Thank you so much for tuning in to this episode of the Get Out of Your Comfort Zone series. I hope it moved you and inspired you if you are feeling stuck with something in your life. If you would like to further connect with our guest, please see their contact in the description. Please consider taking a moment to rate this podcast. Please also consider showing us some love on your Instagram story. You can find our info in the episode description. Until the next episode, I wish you infinite love and light. Thank you so much for tuning in.